So he goes to sim, rolls in, shoots.
How'd that feel?
They took a shot at him, and it hit his AMRAAM, his AIM-120 missile.
But he was pissed.
Had 5 MAMs.
How did it feel for you, though? You remember the first one?
I do. Yeah. So our configuration, loadout, what we're carrying for munitions, we had, all my bros are going to give me shit if I can't remember. There's a GBU-38 and a GBU-54. These are 500-pound bombs. They're guided either coordinates that you put in or laser. You can use your targeting pod and a laser designator with the same PRF code and designate a target. But those are typically not fast movers. Those are stationary targets, buildings, KS-19 piece out in the open or camouflage, you know, based on the intel, you're trying to figure it out. And we carry a Maverick. So that's the tank buster. That's, I think, a 300-pound warhead that it's a missile. And that's can be guided, same, but it's typically guided. It's the way you employ it is a 2-ship. So you got one aircraft that's going to roll in 3 to 5 nautical mile wheel, rolling at a certain altitude and point at the target, general area, put the thing on the thing, launch the Maverick, and it's whoosh, it just rockets off your aircraft. And the other wingman is stacked up high, and through all the coordination, the 9-line, the verification of target identification, the designator's stacked up high, and he's just staring at his 4x4-inch screen targeting pod. He's got the thing on the thing, and he's lays in that target, 20, 30-second time of flight, and shack the target. And so my first employment was against a vehicle that was on the move. And, you know, depending on your timing and when you flew these missions, day, night, sometimes it got hot. It was like every time you went up, it was kind of, you're getting targets. And the way that it was run back then was just kind of a progressive approach on, we're not going to hit your average, what were they called? MAMs, male, or military average male age. I can't remember the 3-1 term for them. But it wasn't like we were just going after your basic terrorist. Mm-hmm. They were progressively looking for a higher value target based on resources and you know, all the intel and scenario and what was going on at that time in Afghanistan. So I had one vehicle that had 5 MAMs, the males, all terrorists, all verified. We've been tracking it for days because you know, they'd find one guy, HUMENT, we'd figure out who it was, and we'd watch him for the next, you know, proof of flight, or, you know, what is it called?
You were in on this planning process?
No, most of this was done. I did a little bit of at the Jock at Bagram, but it wasn't, most of us we were just getting the intel feed before we took off. We'd fly a 4-hour sortie, refuel every once an hour kind of thing, and we'd be given a region. We flew out of Bagram, so we're centrally located, so we were flying all over. And it was pretty hot along the Pakistan border. Up by Tajikistan was pretty hot. And then some in the mountains up in the northeast corner. But we'd have more and more confidence as things developed. And we're like, okay, this is a high probability sortie kind of thing. And we get the initial intel. And then once you get on scene in the AO, they would give you, you know, a intel update and a 9-line if there was a potential for a target. And now you're building your situational awareness over the target area. And once you get the information, you put it in your systems, and now you're just trying to get eyes on to the target. And then you got to go through the verification, depending on who you're talking to. Most of it, we're talking people who are in the Jock with feed from, you know, high def predators. Mm-hmm. And And then, we had a certain type of munition. The Predators had Hellfires, but depending on how big the target was or how critical it was, you were going to choose the platform that best suited that target, weaponry and the target set. And this was a vehicle that had 5 terrorists in it. And we decided it was on the move, so we decided to do a Maverick attack. And my wingman was going to be the shooting platform, and I was going to laze it. And as soon as he rolled in, he neglected to go master arm hot. So there's an option on the master arm switch that goes simulate, off, or master arm hot. Well, it's just a habit pattern to go into sim because training, 99% of your flying is training. So he goes to sim, rolls in, shoots. Shit. Doesn't come off the aircraft because it's loud. It just whoosh. And so he has to recover because you have a very, very small window in range kind of thing. So as soon as he comes off, he spooks the vehicle. So it stops, all 5 just run.
Oh, shit.
So we burn the target at this point, and we're like, that was our chance. They're gone to the wind. So we leave, and we stand off out of earshot. But we have enough gas and a couple hours left, so we just wait for the next, update. Well, lo and behold, they decide, oh, they're gone. Let's get back in the vehicle. So they all slowly, one by one, come back, and they're like, holy shit, this is developing. Let's get back in this. So we get a little bit closer and, again, continue to earshot. And then we switch roles. So I'm going to roll in and employ, and my wingman lazes it.
But he was pissed.
Hey, had his chance.
So you did it?
Yeah.
How'd that feel?
It's pretty intense. It's at the time, it's like ISIS. We're watching people, orange jumpsuits, stuck in cages, drowned and burned alive. So there was a lot of rage, I guess. Mm-hmm. And our mindset changed too, because what we're taught in survival training, be able to talk your way out, resist any torture you might experience if you're ever caught, and how to evade. And once that all started developing, it was all bets are off, man. I'm bringing extra, nothing compared to what you guys are carrying, but I'm gonna bring an extra couple clips. I had one dude who was carrying a machete that was strapped to his leg, like that's gonna do anything. God bless him. But it was like, if you have to go down, you either get hit, your engine fails, good luck.
Yeah.
I'd fight to the death kind of mentality versus, play your game, figure it out, try to manipulate your situation until someone arrives kind of thing. But, and it was real. I mean, we had 2 guys that got hit, total golden BB kind of theory. He was doing an employment, and whether it was a AK-47, some guy on the side of a mountain, taking, plinking shots, put a hole in his ventral fin, those fins in the back of the aircraft, put a big old hole right through that. No idea until he got on the ground and did his post-flight check, but he's like, holy shit, there's a big hole. And then one guy, he was flying too low, too long, and they took a shot at him, and it hit his AMRAAM, his AIM-120 missile, which is on the wingtips. It's for air-to-air employment, which is never going to happen in Afghanistan. But it hit the missile, and the missile caught on fire. So the wingtip of his aircraft's on fire. And so he's emergency. He's trying to get back to Bagram, and I'm sitting supervisory position. And so I have a radio with me, and I hear this, and I'm going out to see this. But thankfully, the airflow eventually put the fire out. He didn't have to punch or anything like that. But we're flying a single-seat, single-engine aircraft, so it's very reliable. GE and Pratt Whitney, depending on what airframe what flavor F-16 you're flying, but still only one engine. And it, there's no glide ratio in the Viper. It's going to fall like a rock and you're going to have to punch. So,
How did it feel for you, though? You described your wingman's approach and miss with the Sims, and then you just breeze right by your approach.
It's satisfying, too grotesque. In combat, the highs and lows you experience it's all too familiar with any type of combat. And I think the most intense emotional experience is having to make decisions that will hopefully save the lives of the friendlies on the ground. But you also have to deal with the consequences of your actions, that you're taking the life of the enemy.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.